Okay, what I want you to do, I'm not really going to lecture on chapter 4. It's the medical record as a source document. I'm just going to hit a few points. With this, it's just telling you that you have to read through the medical record for coding and reporting your diagnosis and procedures. Once we get into next year, when we get into advanced coding, this is where we really get into this. You know, the entire record needs to be reviewed. Okay, it gives you the definition of the provider, you know, again, physician or any other qualified practitioner. Okay, we'll go through medical record reports when you do a whole report for coding. Again, intro to coding, we don't go through the whole medical record. We save that for next year. Documentation of final diagnosis, review of the medical record. Coding specificity, again, we need reports to provide further specificity for lab reports for infection. And then your facility internal guidelines. Again, make sure you read through this chapter. We'll really touch base on it next year. I'm not saying that you don't need it, but again, I want you to read through it, take some notes, highlight. So what I'm going to do now, we are going to go ahead and jump to PowerPoint or chapter 5. You're going to do the basic ICD-10 coding steps. Okay, so here we go. We have locate your main term in the alpha index. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to tell everybody right now, we're going to find a main term in the index. And then we are going to do some reviewing. We're going to review subterms, non-essential modifiers related to the main term. Okay, so with that, if you need to pause, but I want you to look for the main term fracture. So go ahead and give me a pause, find it in your book. Okay, so hopefully you're unpaused. So now what we're going to do, we're going to look for fracture, again alphabetically. This is my main term. Now you'll see when fracture starts off, the first, it goes fracture, comma, non-traumatic. Okay, then we have fracture, comma, pathological. Okay, these are all main terms, but I want you to go to fracture traumatic. Okay, fracture traumatic. With this, okay, now we're going to go, we're in the traumatic section, and now we're going to look for, let's just say we're going to go to the femur. Okay, so again, some students need a ruler so they stay in line, but again, you're going to go fracture traumatic, and we're going to go one indentation level to the femur. Okay, so hopefully everybody is there. With that, we are going to go to the shaft. So that's my next indentation level in the femur. So again, fracture traumatic, femur, shaft. Again, it went one in. Okay, now if I look at this, the shaft, in parentheses, okay, we have non-essential modifiers, which means related to the term, it's the lower third of the shaft, or it could be possibly the middle third or the upper third of the shaft. Okay, we are going to say that our fracture of the femur is a spiral. So once again, you have to look down further. Okay, so we have to look down further. So we have spiral. And again, as you see, it's displaced. That's the one we're going to go with. It's in non-essential modifiers. Okay, so when I look at this, it says S72.34. Okay, so now what we're going to do, you see that dash? Okay, we have to look in our tabular to get more information, which we always need to do. So let's go ahead to S72. So again, it's S7234. If you have to pause my tape to find it, I'm looking it up at the same time you are. So S7234. Okay, I found it. So with that, I have many different ones that I can use. I have to decide right now if it's right, left, okay, if it's unspecified, but we're going to go just to say that it is right. So I'm at S72.341, okay? All right, now we followed our dash, we got that extra digit. Now it says plus a 7th character. Okay, so what I need to do, I need to go to the beginning of S72 to that beginning category that I talked about already back in chapter 2 lecture. So you go all the way to beginning to S72 and you will see the beginning of that category. It says fracture of the femur and there should be a colored box. Mine's gray, yours could be something different. So again, I'm looking for S72.34. It's on the right. And look at all the different things here. It goes from A, B, C, D, E, F, J, K, M, N. We have a P, Q, R, S. We're going to say this is an initial encounter for closed fracture. So my 7th character is going to be an A. Okay. If this was an open fracture, again, we would use a different 7th character digit. So this is why it's so important. So again, verify it, the alphanumeric code in the tabular list, read your code titles, read any instructional notes, and then I feel comfortable to go ahead and code S72.341A. Okay, so again, we located our main term. Usually this is a noun. This gets into, let's say that I'm trying to find something. There's other terms that you're going to use to locate in the Z code section when we hit there. Admission, encounter, examination. Some conditions are indexed under more than one main term. So again, you have to think out of the box when you're looking for different codes. Okay, so again, we located it. We searched for subterms. We searched for notes, cross-references, and again, you keep looking in. You keep looking for subterm, more specific. So again, we keep going till we can't look anymore. And then again, do never ever sign a code, especially in ICD-10-CM, without verifying that number in the tabular list. So again, because there's little notes in there, especially as a new coder, you need to take the exclusion notes, instructional terms and notes, and you need to read all of them saying, hey, do I need another code with this? Or can I code this? Or does it tell me to go somewhere else to find a code? Okay, so coding demonstration, again, they just went through, this one here didn't have any subterms. Okay, this one here, portal vein obstruction. We look at our main term obstruction, our subterm portal, and circulation. It gives us I81. So again, what you want to do, you want to go back in the tabular and double check that to see, hey, is this the right code? Do we have everything coded out? Is there more digits than just I81? Abscess abdominal wall due to staph. Our main term here is going to be abscess. Okay, if I have to look at this, so I have abscess abdominal wall due to staph. So if you would look up, just say, let's say you went and looked up main term staphylococcus. All right, it's going to tell you C condition. All right, so here we look under abscess, we look at subterm abdomen or abdominal, and it gives us L02.211. And then we have to use an additional code because it's telling us to do so. And then assign a code to identify the responsible organism, which is going to be a B code. So at that point, you look up the main term infection, staphylococcal, and the subterm is cause of the disease is B95.8. So in this instance, I have two codes that I'm going to assign to this one liner right here. Okay. So we have aplasia of the pulmonary artery. Again, we look under aplasia. Check subterms. There's no entry for pulmonary artery, so what do? It tells us to see also a genius, so we look under that. And note that more specific term, it goes down to artery pulmonary, and that is how I come up with my code. One thing to remember, you just go where the book tells you to go, okay? Sometimes it says C condition, then maybe you don't have the right term. So here we have bronchopneumonia. Okay, cross-reference instruction says C pneumonia broncho. So again, I go where the book tells me to go, just so I can get that code. All right, so again, we have acute bronchopneumonia due to aspiration of oil, which I think started up here. And what this refers to the following subterms: pneumonia, everything that's under it, J96. But you search through that main term and subterms above, you identify the component parts. Note all component parts of the diagnostic statement except of oil have been located. So I'm going to go with acute bronchopneumonia due to aspiration of oil. So I'm going to go back to the subterm aspiration. So then when I look at due to, I'm going to see the oils in, which would be J69.1. Look back then in your tabular list, check that out, and make sure everything's covered. All right, so once we get to chapter 6, we're going to get a little bit more into coding. So again, hopefully you're outlining, highlighting as I go through some of this. Read through the chapter after I get done with my lecture. Highlight, make notes. You know, anything, these first few chapters are really important.